Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third session of the topic Robinson Crusoe Builds a House. Students, today we are going to read page number 79. So everyone, please open your fragrance book. Students, the main objectives of this chapter are: today you all will be able to understand word meaning, phrases and question answers of page number 79. Students, I hope on the basis of previous reading, you all will be able to answer these set of questions. Look at number 1. What do you think Robinson Crusoe was making? Number 2. What was the quality of the fence? Look at number 3. Where did Robinson Crusoe store his things? Look at number 4. How did Robinson Crusoe make himself safe at night? Look at number 5. What did Robinson Crusoe make behind his tent? Next is, what did Robinson Crusoe make from the short pieces of the board? What did Robinson Crusoe place on the large shelves he made? In the previous video, we all have read Robinson Crusoe built a house on a lonely island after being shipwrecked. He was roaming on the island where he found a plain land on the rising hillside. It was a rocky steep land where not any creature could come up from the top. There was a hollow place on the side of that rock that looked like a door of a cave, but actually it was not. Then he decided to set up his tent on the flat of green. The land in front of his tent was like a green carpet. Its location was as such that Robinson could protect himself from the scorching heat of the sun. He drew a half circle, and in that half circle he placed 2 rows of strong stakes. Each stake stood out of the ground about 5 feet and a half and was sharpened at the top. Robinson Crusoe placed strong stakes like a spur to a post so that nobody could cross the strong fence. Then he brought all those things in the tent in order to save them from the rains. Robinson Crusoe built up the entrance of the fence, which remained open during the daytime. He passed in and out by a ladder, but at night he lifted the ladder and made himself safe. With all his efforts and labor, he cut a way into the rock and made a cave behind his tent, which served him like a cellar or a kitchen. He furnished all his house with a table and a chair that he made from the short pieces of board. Then he placed his tools, nails, and ironwork on the handmade shelves. He hung all his things on the rocky wall. Now students, we all have read this part in the previous video. Now let's continue. Now students, before starting of the session, let us discuss the word meanings and phrases of this page. Look at the first word, voyages. V-O-Y-A-G-E-S, voyages means long journey by sea. Look at the next, compasses. C-O-M-P-A-S-S-E-S, compasses, instruments used for finding directions. Next is cargo. C-A-R-G-O, cargo means the goods carried in a ship. Look at the phrases. In the voyages, समुद्री यात्राओं में. For many years, कई सालों के लिए। To talk to me, मेरे से बात करने को। To call me by my name, मुझे मेरे नाम से बुलाने को। By my servants, मेरे नौकरों द्वारा। Of the whole island, पूरे द्वीप का। Of the table, मेज की। From my hand, मेरे हाथ से। Of special favor, विशेष पक्ष का। Now students, let's start the reading of page number 79. I brought out of the ship in the voyages which I made to it several things of less value but not less useful to me. I got pens, ink and papers, 3 or 4 compasses, 3 good Bibles, and other books which I carefully stored away. Students, in this paragraph, Robinson Crusoe brought all his valuable things like pens, ink, papers, compasses, and other good books from the ship and carefully stored them. Get the next paragraph. We had in the ship a dog and 2 cats. I carried both the cats with me. As for the dog, he jumped out of the ship of himself and swam on shore to me the day after I went there with my first cargo. Students, in this paragraph, Robinson had 2 cats and a dog in the ship. As the dog himself had jumped out of the ship and went away, so he carried both the cats with him. Now students, look at the next paragraph. He was a trusty servant to me for many years. There was nothing that he could not fetch me, nor did I lack company while he was with me. I only wanted him to talk to me, but that he would not do. Now students, in this paragraph, his dog had been faithful to him for several years, and he was like a friend to him, so he wanted to talk to his dog, but it could not. Students, we all have read first 2 paragraphs. Now on the basis of first 2 paragraphs, you all will be able to answer these questions. Look at number 1. What were the things Robinson brought out from the ship? Students, Robinson Crusoe brought out pens, ink, papers, compasses, good Bibles, and other books from the ship. Look at the next question. Name the pets that Robinson Crusoe had with him. Students, Robinson Crusoe had a dog and 2 cats with him. Look at the next. Who was known as a trusty servant for Robinson Crusoe? Students, the dog was known as a trusty servant for Robinson Crusoe. Now look at the next paragraph. I did, after some trouble, catch a young parrot and I brought it home. I named it Paul. It was some years before I could make him speak. However, at last I taught him to call me by my name. Students, in these lines, to fulfill his wish of talking to someone, he caught a young parrot and named it Paul. He made him to speak And finally, he was having a companion with whom he could talk. Students, why do you think Robinson Crusoe wanted somebody to talk to him? Students, Robinson Crusoe caught a young parrot because he was living on a lonely island and wanted to talk to someone. Now look at the next paragraph. How like a king I dined all alone, attended by my servants. There was my majesty, the prince, and lord of the whole island, Paul, my favorite, was the only person permitted to talk to me. My dog sat always at my right hand, and two cats, one on one side of the table and one on the other, expecting now and then a bite from my hand as a mark of special favor. Now students, in this paragraph, he was alone on the lonely island. He felt himself like a king. He enjoyed the company of his pets and dined with them. Students, we all have read page number 79. So on the basis of page number 79, you all will be able to answer these questions. Which bird did Robinson Crusoe catch on the island? Students, Robinson Crusoe caught a young parrot. Look at the next. Why did Robinson Crusoe catch a young parrot? Students, Robinson Crusoe caught a young parrot because he was living on a lonely island and wanted to talk to someone. Look at the next question. Who used to dine like a king on the lonely island? Students, Robinson Crusoe used to dine like a king on the lonely island. Students, today we all have read page number 79. Now, you all have to follow your SNAP homework schedule and do the related exercises by your own. Thank you everyone and stay tuned.